In your 20s, don't worry about making millions, worry about developing skills. And what will happen is you'll develop the skill sets of being able to know how to think, your mindset, being able to sell, influence, and persuade. And that skill set is one that will pay you your entire life.
I always wanted to say what Brent Musburger, and this is going to age me. We're talking about Brent Musburger and football. And he'd say, "You are looking live." And I was a little kid. I was indelibly marked by that. You are looking live. You are looking live today at the Unstoppables. And we have an unstoppable guest. Before I reveal his name, you know why he's here? Because he makes a difference in other people's lives. Because he's actually in there doing it every day. He's doing the work. He's unstoppable because, yeah, he's had setbacks. We'll learn about them. But he's overcome them. He keeps moving forward. And that's the only way we can survive and thrive, is always forward. Today, my special guest from Dallas, Texas, his home office, is Hoss Pratt. Hoss, welcome to the show, man.
Bill, it's good to be here.
Man, I think that was the best opening I ever gave.
I mean, you're looking good today too, buddy. You always look sharp.
Well, you know, like we talked about before we came on the air, I knew you were going to have a whole lot of substance for me.
Right.
I know you do. I follow you on Instagram. I watch your stuff. I love your posts. You got a lot of substance. So I thought, I might not be able to, have more substance than hospice. So I'm going to have to really put this, the tailor special ordered 6 weeks in advance just for you.
There you go, buddy.
Let's talk about you for a minute, because I can talk about me for the next 45 minutes. But let's talk about you.
Okay.
Talk about Hoss Pratt. Give me some background. Take me from 30,000 feet, who Hoss Pratt is, and what compelled you to do what you do now.
Well, I'll take you and try to do it in less than a minute. I grew up in Northwest Missouri. I barely made it through high school. I worked on a dairy farm, didn't go to college. But, Bill, I had a mentor who was a millionaire that took me under his wing when I was a teenager. And he changed the course of my life and taught me business, taught me mindset, taught me street smarts, taught me just how to think, and taught me what they didn't teach me in the walls of school. And he gave me several pieces of advice in my life, and really I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And he set me on my journey early on as an entrepreneur.
Let's talk about mindset, because many people talk mindset. Everything, Hoss, to me, has to come with a definition. That gives it context. Right. That gives it some kind of texture. Tell me what mindset is to you.
Mindset to me is owning your success, meaning it's up to you. You're going to do whatever it takes, and you fully own your success. One of the first things that Jimbo told me, for example, Bill, was he said, start a business. And I started Pratt Lawns in high school, and we were mowing 100 lawns a week. And I was successful at the time. And Jimbo said, now it's time for the next step. And I'm like, well, what's that? He says, it's time to move. I'm like, where do I go? He said, move to Dallas, Texas. I said, why? He said, because you belong there. He said, you become a product of your environment. You can make $100,000 a year here in Northwest Missouri mowing grass, or you can make $1 million a year elsewhere. And I was like, where do I go? He goes, you go to Dallas, Texas. Why? He said, you belong there. And I packed up my bags. I moved to Texas at age 20 or 21. I didn't know a single soul here. And I left a successful business. To me, that's mindset. Being willing to leave it all for what you can become. And through that journey, it's all about how you think. I mean, how you think about yourself, how you think about opportunity, how you think about others. I mean, it's a journey that never ends in changing the way you think at every level. I mean, I think different today, Bill, than I did, as that farm boy in Missouri, with the young ambition, right?
Called evolution.
That's right.
And progression.
That's right.
When you were speaking, we have something in common, but my motive was probably a little different. See, I started out in the backwoods of Pennsylvania, so my mindset is vastly different than what it was when I was back in Pennsylvania. But I knew that I had to find a way out of the factory I worked in, and I had to find my way out of that foreclosed future. And the only way to do that, and I thought the only place to do that rather, was to go always forward to California. Because to me, California was the nectar, it was the opportunity, it was this epicenter for a lot of opportunity. And the driving compelling force, I'm going to share this on the air, it's the first time I've ever shared this. There was a choice between, think of a wishbone, Dallas, Texas, and Southern California. I had a choice.
That's right.
And what the agenda, the motive was, where were the best women? So I'm going to tell you, I took Southern California, but it was like 51-49. So I wanted to be in a place where, hey, you know what? So my secondary thing was making money, but then I knew there had to be a primary to get what I wanted in a track. There you go. That's a dirty secret for you. But
and I'll add to that. I think the common thread that I see in a lot of successful entrepreneurs is they left the nest, whether their nest was Pennsylvania or their nest was Northwest Missouri. You got to leave the nest to be a self-made entrepreneur. You have to leave what you know, put yourself in the environment that you have to grow and thrive and become the best you. There's no doubt, Bill, that you had to grow, from that Pennsylvania boy to, the California, living out there. Same thing with me. I think that's an important thing. I tell millennials, these young kids that are moving back in with their parents and they're not going out on their own. It's a huge, colossal mistake to play it safe. Everyone needs to leave the nest if they want to succeed on their own.
And thanks for pulling me back into the show, because Kelsey was making that face when I go off tangents and I go off, say stuff that's kind of strange, even for her at this point. But the nest doesn't have to always be home. The nest could be a place of safety. See, the nest could be that place where we get comfortable, Hoss, where we think, we're doing good enough. We don't need to do much more. We don't want to take these chances. We don't want to do what it takes because we're afraid that we might fail. So I want to go on your journey and tell me when you might have had these situations, almost like The Alchemist, where there's this person traveling and he thinks he has the oasis and then he's going, almost like that. Tell me about when you began, maybe a place you could have stopped at, and then you kept going. So you give me a little bit of a background.
So I moved to Texas right after 9/11, and the economy here was brutal. And I remember I got a job. I was going door to door as a door-to-door salesman at the time because Jimbo said I need to learn how to sell. And I remember it was a tough day. I was just wanting to throw in the towel. I've been down here in Dallas a few months, and I remember I made the decision for whatever reason I was going to move back home. And I called my dad and I said, hey, Dad, man, the economy sucks here. Nobody's buying anything. Like, I think I made a mistake. I think I'm going to come back home. And he said, well, come on back. We'll welcome you. It's all good. No, made me feel better. It's like a warm blanket. Oh, yes, I'm moving back. And then I called Jimbo and I said, Jimbo, man, and he, by the way, he was the architect of me moving here. And we had goals and we had a plan. I told him I was considering moving back. And that conversation changed everything. He said, as I vented about why I was thinking that way, he said, are you done? And I was like, yes. He said, did you forget why you moved there? Did you forget that I told you that you would feel this way and that like you would have to make the decision to stay or go? He said, if you move back home, you're going to be the biggest effing loser that ever walked the planet. You're going to be the laughing stock. You just had a going away party and now you're going to move back. He said, if you move back, it'll be the single biggest mistake you've ever made in your life, and you will regret it your entire life. And in that moment, I decided I'll never move back.
You just outlined the importance of mentors. And I like his voice, because that voice is a kick in the ass, and most of us don't get that today.
He didn't like anybody, Bill. Like, honestly, I don't know why Jimbo came in my life. Like, I think I was the only human being that he liked. He loved me. And we had a special relationship. And there's no doubt I would not be where I am without mentors or coaches in my life.
So you didn't move back.
I did not.
You moved forward. What did you do next?
So I got into real estate. So at the time I was going door to door. I did that for a few years. And then I parlayed those skills into real estate. I got into real estate in my early 20s. And I was here in Dallas selling real estate, residential agent. And ended up becoming one of the top listing agents in the area. We were listing anywhere between 20 and 30 homes a month. And I ran that business for years. And I had a guy that wanted to buy me out, so I sold it. And in that moment, for the last 10 years, I've been training and coaching entrepreneurs, salespeople, real estate agents how to grow their business and do the same. And I've been traveling the country, 1,000 seminars, 48 states, 5,500 hours of one-on-one coaching, helping agents and entrepreneurs grow their business.
The number one opportunity to make money, and it's an opportunity, is in sales. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity. It's not work. It's an opportunity. That might be a career, But that career is because it opens opportunities for us to do more, to share more. Because you can sell. And people fear this, but we all sell. No matter what. If you're convincing your wife to go to a movie, you don't want to go to that movie, you have to kind of compromise solution. Who's going to take care of the kids? Who's doing this week? What are you going to wear? Is it the promotion week? How do I have to comport myself because I'm always selling myself? You got to be able to sell. So if you're in that place, and I think this is important for people, if you're in that place where the condition looks like it's daunting, like you might never be able to get out of it, but it's something you're selling that people need, and you got to find that niche and go, you got a good shot. You got a good shot. I think.
And here's what I tell people, even especially younger folks that, maybe in their 20s. People in your 20s, don't worry about making millions. Worry about developing skills.
Oh, yeah.
You need
that's a takeaway. Will you repeat that, please?
In your 20s, don't worry about making millions. Worry about developing skills. Don't worry about becoming the next Elon Musk. Be willing about doing the work that others are not willing to do. And what will happen is you'll develop the skill sets of being able to know how to think, your mindset, being able to sell, influence, and persuade. And that skill set is one that will pay you your entire life. And if you don't develop the skill, you're going to experience pain your entire life, no matter what you do.
That is a great takeaway. It's a great takeaway. So
mic drop. Hey, we're done.
That's it. It's a mic drop. I might say something good at the end of a speech. It never happens in the beginning. So I can't walk off. Sometimes the audio doesn't work and you want to walk off.
Yeah, right.
Tell me about the next step. So you're in real estate, you're coaching, what are you doing forward? What did you do after that?
Well, here's the thing for me, like I want to share is I really believe what I just said, meaning that I collect skills, and for me, never going the formal path. If I were to succeed, it was only up to me. The only way I was to succeed if I brought enough value to the market. The only way I could bring enough value to the market is if I had the skill sets. And today I'm 37, and what I've done to get here is at every level, wherever I was, I always knew what skill set I was working on. And when I was prospecting for listings, I was developing the sales skill, or when I was going door to door. Then I developed the marketing skill, how to get my phone to ring, direct response, how to separate myself from the competition. And that's a great foundation. But the next level is being able to present one to many, being able to share and impact and influence the masses. And for me, I wanted to do that. And so I went on the road, and on the road 200 days a year. I wasn't on the road to get rich. I was on the road to develop the skill to sell, to be able to speak from the stage, right? One to many. And I think that for everybody listening, it's important to be clear with what that skill is that will take you to the next level. I mean, in sales, Bill, one to many is a skill that any salesperson needs to learn. I mean, like right now, one to many, whether you're doing a video or a webinar or a stage presentation, one to many is the thing that will help you really take your sales skills to the next level.
It's a one to many as if it was a one-on-one, one heartbeat, one mind at a time. And that I think is the gift of the skill. You mentioned skill, but what wraps around the skill is a P word. It's called passion.
Yeah.
Give me a definition of passion.
Yeah, I'm passionate, buddy. I am, man. I'm like, I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps right now. Just like I do. It's just
talking to me.
Yeah, maybe why. Sure, that's it. You do that, but it's passion, and I think passion is an important part to. I'll take it a step further. I think it's an important part to fulfillment and happiness. I mean, if you're not passionate about what it is that you're doing, I mean, it's tough, man. I mean, it's real tough. So you always want to be working on what it is that you're passionate about. I'm passionate about sharing and influencing and impacting the masses, talking about what I've done. I know what I've done. I know what I know. And so I'm passionate about sharing that, man. And that's, whatever it is, passion is what drives me for sure.
There's two things you can't give people. There's a lot of things you can't give them, but two things is the work ethic. Yeah, they got to do their own push-ups and pull-ups, right? And the other thing is passion. You can give them a foundation, an environment that may be conducive to their passion, but that's an internal That's something you can't give another person. You can't. I wish I could do it, but I can't.
And I think it goes back to the beginning when we talked about mindset and we talked about being able to think the right way and owning your success. I ask myself this question because I coach people. In real estate, like I never missed a day of prospecting and lead generating. When I went door to door, I knocked more doors than everybody.
Yeah.
I've done more seminars than most people in my niche, and I've always been that way. And I ask myself why some people don't and are not willing to work. I mean, is it just work ethic? And I think that's something people have to find. Nobody has ever had to babysit me to make sure I was doing the things I needed to do. That passion just drove me through it. And maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's other things, but whatever it is that drives you, find it.
Well, part of it's got to be that fear of failure. It's that some people just give up before they don't want to get out of the nest, as you would say. So failure is not an option because they never take opportunities to try to seize or make anything better for themselves. What you're mentioning here is something that is so rare today. It is called personal responsibility for the outcomes in your life. Yeah. See, you live in a place where I live. If it's to be, it's up to me. Right. No excuses, no conditions. There's got to be a way. It's nobody else. No dog ate my homework. Yeah. I got to find a way to be better by improving skills every day. Yeah. You have that point of contact. If it's to be, it's up to me. People don't have that today. And I wish I would have talked to you 25 years ago. I could have saved hundreds of thousands, hundreds, no, I mean this literally, of thousands of dollars because I was trying to give people that momentum, that fire. I wanted to see something that they could make for themselves. If you ain't going to get on that phone, and activity is going to rule your success. If you're not going to be that person that says, I'm going to knock on more doors than anybody else, and you don't have an internal drive, you might as well save your money as an owner because you're pissing it away.
Yeah. I'll give you an example of this. And I've learned this, and it's true. If there's one thing you can do is stop leaning on other people and own it and create it. I mean, I'm writing a book right now. I know you've written books, the process. And I was talking to my team about it. And I said, here's the outline. I work on the outline. And I said, do you know why most people don't write books or can't do it? Because they think that somebody can bring the outline and the title and everything to them, right? They're like, oh, who can I hire? Who can I outsource? Where can I get the book done? But no, the best ghostwriter in the world can't bring you the outline. They can't. You'll never find it. Only you can create the outline. My assistant can't create my outline. Only I can. And that's true about everything you do. You can find people to support your vision or support what it is that you do, but only you are the one that can create it and find it. And the only way you can do that is if you own it and you look in the mirror and you're not leaning on other people to bring those things to you.
I will own all the poor grammar and typos, but I write my books. It's not a ghostwriter. And I'll tell you, the key to writing a book is to have an assistant like Kelsey who can help you write that book, because sometimes she can write better than me. It's just depends on my allergies and what kind of fall. I'll never repeat this again. Hopefully we're not recording this.
We'll edit that part out.
Yeah, you've got to have that. And you're right about the outline. You're right about those seminal thoughts that you can bring forward that have to be yours. Or if you can't own your book, if you don't own, and your book is your life, you're putting yourself into it, and all the blood is the ink, and you're just pouring yourself into it. That's what makes a good book.
Right.
Everything else is a bunch of bullshit for commercialism. And I mean, it's just Gary Vaynerchuk wrote I think a second or third book, and it bombed because it was just a rehash of trying to sell his first book. Yeah. Other than that, I like him. Tell me about failure. What was your biggest failure? And then what did you take away from it?
Wow. It's hard to, I don't look at failure that way, but I have failed, meaning I was, at the time I was doing real estate coaching, doing events, coaching a lot of people. And I thought I need technology to bring to these people. I mean, I teach lead follow-up. I teach sales. I teach technology, leveraging technology. And at the time, a technology didn't exist. That was a CRM that did everything for them. You see, I understand in my world, I got to do as much for people as I possibly can. And in the world of technology, we were doing their direct mail campaigns. We had auto dialers. We had a CRM that was amazing. And I went down that road, and it was a mistake because it was out of my lane. And it cost me a lot of time. It cost me a lot of headache. It gave me gray hair. Running a software technology company and creating all that, it was an entirely different lane that I didn't see from the beginning. I don't know if it was I thought I could do anything. It was I didn't see the blind spot that you can't do just everything, and stay in your lane and leverage your strengths. And that was the lesson I learned. It cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I got out of it. I sold it because it just cost me way too much time. And it was not something that was in alignment with what my strengths are. I mean, I'm not a CEO of a software company. Okay. That's not me. Now, just because I saw the need doesn't mean I need to go become that. There's other ways to do it. And I think that was the biggest lesson is stay in your lane, double down on your strengths. If it's out there in left field, question it. I mean, because everything is going to cost you 3 times as much money as you think it's going to, and 3 times as much time as you think it's going to. Minimum, right? A lot of times.
I wish I would have met you again 20 years ago, because when I get out of my lane, I lose big time money.
Right, and with you, me too, right? You get out.
It's your lane. And leveraging your strengths in that lane is a great takeaway. That's another mic drop for you. But leveraging your strengths in that narrow lane is going to expand your possibilities and create opportunities that you cash as results. Right. It is. Every time I tried to dabble into something else because it sounded cool and it was something on the periphery that I didn't know about, man, I got my ass kicked.
Yep, you do.
Every time. The other thing you do that the great ones that come on this show do is they really have a hard time with failure. Not a hard time with it. They don't understand it. That's just part of, that's just kind of a setback. That's just kind of what we do to get, they don't look at failure and say, oh, God, I just fell off the cliff. No, they're like you. They're perplexed for a minute. And then they'll say, yeah, it's kind of a setback thing.
Yeah, I did. You asked me that question. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't think about my failures. I really don't. And I think that's a distinction. It's a hard thing. But I'll tell you this, though. Here's why I don't. As hard as that was, as much as it cost me, what came out of it was we developed a technology that I still own today that is very successful, that is in my strengths, and it came out of that, and that wouldn't have existed if I didn't go through that pain. So there's always good that comes out of those challenges and failures, I guess you could say.
This is bare truth right here. The first time that I ever came out and started to address failures and talk about failures as failures is when I wrote my book. Fail more. I had to go back and think, well, what was a failure? Because everything else was just a part and a rite of passage of going forward.
The other thing on that is I think that I don't just depend on one thing, meaning if I fail at one thing, I don't have everything in that one thing. Like if it makes it great, if it doesn't, I'll still be okay. And I think there's something to that. If you're just dependent on this one thing, and if it fails, I like to not depend on one thing, and if it fails, I'm screwed. I like to depend on my talent, my skill sets. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to depend on that because that's what I can control. Yeah. And I think that's the difference. Are you going to own it, or are you going to seek the thing to make you successful, the opportunity, right?
Yes. And you're talking about, and you have great awareness, my friend, because what you're talking about is you really can only influence external events. The only thing you can own is that internal will and how you perceive the external. That's the only thing. So when people come in and say, we control the client, you don't control a client. You influence the client. Now, you'll find out after they go.
You don't control anything but yourself.
100%. And your awareness is again, a marked departure from a lot of people who will not look in the mirror and see with clarity where their strengths are and their weaknesses. They're too caught up in trying to be the next Elon Musk, sans all the insanity. So they want the title. They want to be an entrepreneur. They want to be this. So they want this title, and that they think to be CEO or own a company, if they just put on the hat, put something on the door that says boss, that they got it made. And man, there is nothing further from the truth than that bullshit, is there?
Yeah, you know what's involved there, buddy.
Yeah, it's called ego, which can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And I always say that ego with talent, people will perceive as competence, like you have. Yeah. But ego without freaking talent is arrogance, my friend. And no one's ever confused me with that, but they get close.
Yeah.
The other side of failure or failures is to come out with success. So what's your greatest success?
Man,
softball for you.
Well, I mean, as cheesy as it could sound, it's my family, right? I think if you
Not
look,
cheesy, man.
I mean,
That's it.
but I mean, I know, you know, you probably want a business success, but like, it's
Yeah.
really my family. I think, you know, going into all this, I had great mentors that taught me the right way to do it. Like my mentor today told me, he goes, right now, you're not building a business, you're building a family. Your business needs to be the vehicle that funds your lifestyle and your family. He said, don't miss it. Don't be out there on the road, gone all the time. You're going to regret it later. He said, I interview CEOs. He's a CEO coach every day. You know, their kids, they're a mess. They're unhappy. Don't do that. Build your kids and your family first. So I think my biggest success is, number one, understanding that. And then every day working towards being a better husband and father to my 3 daughters, man. And continuing to bring value to my community in addition to that.
First thing I coach people as a question is, what's the purpose of the exercise? Meaning, why are you doing this? So I would ask you, why are you doing what you do in the context of work? Is to create lifestyle options for your family. That's it, right? That's what we're talking about.
Right.
So, and I don't think that, I answered that question, it was rhetorical. So I don't think that there is a separate, existence over here that's called work, and a separate one over here that's not associated with work, it's called life. It's all life. It's all life. And the sooner we get a grasp on that, the more balance we'll have, the more happiness we'll have, the more lifestyle options we can pursue for a worthy cause instead of our own, which could be just greed. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
What is I know I can ask for plurals, but I'm going to ask for one. What's your defining moment? One, you only get one.
Wow. For years I was doing I was speaking on other people's stages. And every time I went on the stage, I looked around going, man, thank God I don't have my own conference. This is a lot of work. Look all these butts in seats. Look all the marketing. Look all the people. Look at all this. What I was doing was telling myself excuses because I knew that I had to do my own conference. And I was looking for reasons why I couldn't or shouldn't. And so I put that off. And because as you know, Bill, doing conferences is huge. I mean, getting people on airplanes, room blocks, marketing, selling tickets, and everything. And I learned this: everything you want is on the other side of fear. Meaning, there's something stopping you right now that you're scared of that will take you to the next level, and is exactly what's preventing you from getting to the next level. We all usually know what that is, and we usually maybe. Like me, I was against doing my own conference because of all that was involved. And when I made the decision to do my own conference, I will never forget walking on stage at that event with a packed room of 350 people that all got on airplanes to come here to see me speak for 3 days. That was my moment that I stood up there and I realized I made it. Like, I didn't want to do this, and I did, and I knew that because I was on the other side of it, I could take this anywhere. There's nothing that could stop me.
And once you have that power, you are unstoppable.
That's what it's about.
One of the things that makes you unstoppable. That's it right there. Hoss, where can we find you? I want some of this knowledge that you've accumulated through mentors and through a significant mentor, but just through life. So I want to be able to find you. Where do I find you?
Go to hosspratt.com. It's HOSSPRATT.com. You can go there and learn more about me. We got some free resources there as well. And I'm working on my next book called Easy Money, How to Create Opportunity Out of Thin Air and Dominate Your Niche. And that book is going to be released here soon. You can go to easymoneysales.com, easymoneysales.com, and get signed up to be notified on when we release the book.
Beautiful.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm going to give you one more, man. Okay.
You got it.
If you could write a paragraph for your kids, your loved ones, just for people that you mentor now, one paragraph, and it would be the lessons learned or something you'd want them to learn from and follow, so they don't, the ideal of a mentor, right? A true mentor to me is that they shorten that distance between where you are and where you intend to be. And they also, alleviate some of that blood and pain that goes with it. So you're going to shorten the distance for people. What would you tell them in that one paragraph?
If you want to achieve more freedom and success in business and life, and you want to live your dream, you need to follow a formula. And the formula that I would give you would be, number one, is you have to have the right mindset. Everything begins with the way you think. Go inward, not outward. Think the right way, and always be open-minded and change your thinking at every level. 2 is always have models to follow. It's hard to fail whenever you're following the right models. Don't go out, try reinvent the wheel. Don't try to figure it out all on your own. Own your success, but invest in models to show you the path. Don't be so arrogant to think you don't need to learn from somebody else or follow somebody else's path. And 3 is the most important, which is massive action. You got to take massive action. And massive action is the part that's up to you. Nobody can do this but you. I can't take the action for you. It's only up to you. So find it deep within yourself of being able to take massive action, following proven models in both business and life with the right mindset. And it's easy to live your dream and live a fulfilled life.
Success for him is on the other side of fear. He has a mindset that keeps him in his lane. He keeps developing skills. Every day he's developing skills, and he owns his success. He knows that if it's to be, it's up to him, and he is Hoss Pratt. You have been sensational, my friend.
You're awesome, Bill. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.